So you've logged in, and now you need to go to your LibAnswers page, which is your dashboard. So if I do this, I'm going to look at my dashboard. It says I have 2 open tickets. All right, so here it says open tickets. Pending comments is 0. Don't worry about those. Errors you don't need to worry about. Spam you might want to look at. So if I click on spam and it says, when is the test in Miss Kite's class? What you can do, if you feel that it's okay, you think it's not spam, you can push it as not spam, and it's going to put it into the messaging queue. If you feel like it's spam, just ignore it. As the administrator, I'll go in and look at everything. So then I went back to open tickets, and now I have 3 different tickets. Here's the ticket name, and it marked them all as spam because there's something that's triggered it to think it's spam. And that's okay. So if it doesn't look like it's truly spam, then just answer it. But if you think it is spam, say like it was some like jarbled email, you can mark it as spam. That's what those look like. Do never delete it. Please never delete a ticket. We're looking at these to track them to see what's coming in. All of these are new, and all of these are from patrons, and nobody owns this, and this shows when it came in. So let's go ahead, and here's a good scenario. This student wants to know when the test is. So I click on it, and I don't know that information. And even though I've claimed it, I don't know it. So I'm going to mark here, dear random student. You can answer it any way you want. If they gave you a name, you could respond with a name. Please check with Miss Kite about your exam date. You can also check the syllabus, which might have it. Okay, and then what I'm also going to do is I could assign or transfer it, but you really don't need to do that. So what you're going to do is you answered it. And maybe what I would do is if you want to, you could add somebody's email from this. You could add, like, if you know it's Tracy's student, if you put it in here. Right now, she's not in here, but she will. Well, here she is. You could do that, and you could add her to that so she would see the email. Okay, but for this, I'm not going to do it because in an example. I'm not going to add it to the frequently asked question group, and I am going to do an analytics. I'm going to do it for STEM 411. I'm going to say that, okay, I did this in Cartersville. It took me less than 5 minutes. I didn't need any additional material, and it might be course information. And then I'm going to submit it as closed because I've answered the ticket. I hit that. And what it does is it shows me here, blue was the student's question. The orange is what I answered back to the student. And this is a bogus email. It's not really going to go anywhere, but it's going to answer the student back into the email they gave us. So when I go back to the dashboard, that ticket's gone, but it did go to error. And the reason it went to error is because of the email address I gave them. So when this happens for students and they open a new ticket or they do something else, at least we've sent this to Tracy and she knows this was her student. If you get an error, don't worry about it. It's something the student did with the email or some kind of thing. Don't worry about it. We'll try, as an administrator, I'll look at all of these, but don't worry about it. Again, it's an error now because of the email they gave us. All right. So here's another one. I want to know how to pay my bill. All right. Well, that's really not a pre-calculus thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to the Highland site. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to one thing I can do is I'm going to grab the GHC website. Oops, excuse me. Let me go back to it. I'm going to go, hello, John. Oops. For GHC questions, please use this link. And I'm going to put it in there. and send it to them. That's how we can do that. Another way for me to add the link is if I go here and I can put it here and I hit OK. And it's just another way for them to get it. You can do either way. And for any questions that are not course specific, how do I pay my bill? How do I get my parking pass? Anything like that, please refer them to the www.highlands.edu/need-help. And again, it's the Georgia Highlands 411 system. So I'm not going to CC anybody. You can do the analytics, and again, you can say, okay, I was in Cartersville when I answered this. It took me less than 5 minutes. Do I need a material? No. And I can put GHC information. And then I'm going to submit it at close. All right. Again, did this, and it sent it to the student. So if I go to my email, the student is going to get, hey, John, for GHC questions, please use this link. And they can open it in another window, and it will take them to the page they need to go. And I'm going to close this again. All right. So that is an easy way for me to answer that student's question. All right. I'm going to go back to LibAnswers. So now I'm going to go back to my dashboard. And look, that question is not showing up. So that one has gone away. I can't see it anymore. It's shown as closed. If you do need to show it, you can go here and go to closed tickets, and it'll show you. And if I do filter, there it is. It shows up. But you don't need to worry about that unless there's an old ticket you want to go reopen. And if it does, from closed, you click on it. And if you want to, you can say student, if you get in some kind of contact with a student, you can say student notified me that they emailed it. Okay. And then again, you can just close it. Anytime you need to make a note, you can do that, and you're just going to submit it as closed, and I hit yes. All right. And then again, it will show me if I keep looking at these tickets, if I go back to the dashboard and I go back to closed and I do the filter, again, it will show me all my responses to that student and stuff that happened. All right, so I'm back to dashboard again. This automatically gets me out of the closed tickets. So now here's another one that I need to answer. So I'm going to look at it, and here I get a red little icon. And one thing I haven't talked about before, but this will help you. If I click on this information by the student, I see the student's name, I see what class, I see the instructor, and I see that it was asked through the system. We need as much information that we can have to track them. So say you ask the student and be helpful and go, hey, Camille, what's your last name? And they say, oh, here's my last name. You can update this ticket to help us, so we can track them better. All right, well, this student has sent me in a picture. And it's going to tell you this email message, and it's going to say, hey, what's going on? You can look at these. So if you click on these links, it's going to show you how to open them and run them and download them to your computer. This is the same premise as when you open a document from a student in your email. Same thing. SpringShare does scan these for viruses. So know that they're looking at it. You can also hopefully have virus protection on your computer so it doesn't. If they send you a JPEG, the great thing is if I click here, you can open in a new window. And this one is trying to get me to download it. It's okay to download it because we've seen here that we have virus protection. I'm going to click on it though. If it does that for you, look, it puts it in an image. If a student sends you a ticket and you're not comfortable with the file, you can ask them to do it as a JPEG. We are going to put on the site a way for them to snip things off their computer. We're going to do it for Macs and for Words, where they can send you a JPEG and you can just click on it. So here I can see what the student wants me to solve for them, and I can start answering questions about that. If you want to download the file, it's okay. If you don't, we're going to try to get students to answer these questions, send them as JPEG so we can see it without downloading it. So then I can say, hello, Camille. I looked at the question, and here is how I would start to answer it. Okay, and you can give them advice on how to answer it. You do not have to completely give them the answer. Remember, we're trying to help them get it. And for me, when I look at this, and again, I would say, okay, look at how many irons you have, how many oxygens, how many carbons, and from there, that might help. And for pre-calculus, you can say stuff like that. All right, so another thing too is say that this is in the wrong queue, okay? So you can go here and you can go to queue, and then if it was in the STEM 411, you don't have to put it through a new answer. So then it will transfer it back to the STEM 411 queue if you think that it's in the wrong queue. Okay, but I'm good right now. I don't need to do that. I'm going to keep it as that, and it's fine. All right, so here I'm in my ticket. I've answered it, and say that I've done some stuff for them and I want to send it back to the student. And say like, I think the student might want to watch a video. So then what you can do is you can go, if you have a video or if you have a document on here, you can upload the document. Or if I know a video that I want to, I can put the link in there to YouTube, to somewhere to help the student. So if I'm still going back and forth to the student, I could keep it going. And then if I want to do an analytics for it and say, hey, again, I'm answering this. I'm in Cartersville. It took me less than 5 minutes. Did I add additional material? Yes. And then I can say, this is chemistry. Chemistry balancing equations. And you can make any kind of note on there that you can, because eventually we want to make more tags to do that. So I'm going to submit this as pending. Why? Because I'm sending it back to the student to see if they will answer me back. And then if I go to my thing, I'm in my email and I'm in my STEM for one. Okay, so then what the student sees is, hopefully it'll go back, hey, I looked at the question, this is how it started. So all the student has to do is, so then they can write you back. I can't understand how to count up the items for each element. Okay, so they're going to send it to me. When I go back to LibAnswers and I do this, I can go back to my dashboard and look, it shows that I'm the owner, and I'm going to click on it again and look, hey, give it a second, but look, it gave you something else. So then you can go back and forth with the student and talk to them. If a student asks a question and you don't hear from them, you can leave it as pending. What you can do though is say like the student never responds to you. Then what you can do is you can submit it at closed, and you just do that. And I put in analytics before, so I'm okay. But always remember, if you didn't put in the analytics and you close it, please go back and do that. So I go back to the dashboard and look, and now I don't have anything in there. So let's talk about another issue that may come up. And I'm going to let me do this. I'm going to go and I'm going to open a new ticket. So say a student asks you about a homework question that you think is an exam question or something like that. So let's do this. I'm going to go here, and I'm being the student, and I'm going to be like, please help with this question. Okay. And this is Linda. And again, I'm going to use my email, cpace@highlands.edu. And then I'm going to do it for pre-calculus. And I'm going to say my instructor is Tracy. Okay. And again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add that JPEG of that question and I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to submit my question. Okay, so this is what the student has done, and now I'm going back to LibAnswers, and again, I click on my dashboard. Let's see, this one came as spam, and you got to be careful. Sometimes they'll come as spam and all that, so I'm going to hit not spam, and again, you can look at the question to look at that, and I'm going to do open tickets. So here I am. I'm going to click on it. And if you think that this question is an exam question, or when you look at it, it looks like they copied and pasted it on a website or something like that, you can say, good morning, Linda. Is this question on an exam? And you can send it back to the thing. So another thing you can do is, I am not sure how to answer, or you can send it back to them and see what they say. If you think it might be an exam question, CC the instructor so they know. Because if it is an exam question and they said, please do not ask for help on this exam, then the professor is being notified this is occurring. And then again, I want to do it as pending so that I see that this was sent to the student. And then if the student says, yes, this is on exam, you could say, hey, Linda, we don't answer exam questions. We're only here to help with homework and questions for assignments that are specifically help related. Like if an instructor says homework, yes, they can have help. You can answer homework. But for exam questions, if the instructor has said you're not allowed to help them, then note that to the student so they know that you're not allowed to help them. And again, it's going back for pending because I didn't close it, but if I need to close it, I can click on it. And I want to do an analytics for this that, hey, I was in Cartersville again. It took me 5 minutes. Did I add any additional material? No. And then I'm going to put that I closed it. Okay. I hope this helps with how you answer questions.